Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather. Let's see what's happening. So we have 4 marginal risks, one in Montana, another one in parts of Idaho, Utah, Nevada, uh, Wyoming, in southeastern Wyoming, in western Wyoming, and in southwestern Montana. Another one in Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, parts of Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico, and the other marginal in North Carolina and South Carolina. General risk of thunderstorms in some other areas. So let's see. Tornado threat less than 2%, wind 5% in all areas, and hail just 5% in the high plains there. So be aware. Let's see here. Isolated severe thunderstorms are possible today over parts of coastal Carolina, central high plains, and eastern Great Basin, north central Rockies, and northern Montana. So be aware there. For tomorrow, there's a bigger marginal risk in parts of Montana and Colorado, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, Kansas, basically 90% of Wyoming, like all of Wyoming, eastern Idaho, and parts of Utah and Colorado. So be aware. Tornado threat still less than 2%, but be aware. You never know. Wind threat 5% there, and hail 2 areas of 5%, one from Montana to Colorado, and this other one further west. So be aware. General risk of thunderstorms in the south and the southeast. There's another marginal risk there, mainly for wind. So just for wind there. So be aware. Isolated severe thunderstorms possible Tuesday across parts of eastern Great Basin to north central high plains, as well as parts of South Carolina and vicinity. So be aware there. For tomorrow, for Tuesday, and for Wednesday, there's another marginal risk in parts of Kansas, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, Missouri, and Iowa, and Minnesota. So be aware. General risk of thunderstorms in other areas. Probabilistic 5% there. So let's see. At least isolated severe storms may occur Wednesday across parts of northern central plains to the mid-Missouri Valley. So be aware. So for today, let's see. We have those storms firing in the west, lots in New Mexico, Colorado, parts of central, southern Colorado, and later this evening into eastern Colorado there. And then some more storms in the Oklahoma Panhandle and Kansas later this evening. The storms fire in Utah, more through Wyoming, getting first to like some storms in southeastern, especially western Wyoming, southwestern Wyoming, northeastern Utah, some more storms in Arizona. Let's see. In Montana, the storms there in parts of central, northern Montana, and some other areas. And later by tomorrow morning into Kansas. And let's see, in the southeast it shows some storms in the afternoon in Florida, and the storms in North Carolina there in South Carolina. So be aware. Might be some damaging gusts or two. So let's see. For today, there's this map here. Some flood, some rain in the green, critical fire in the gray. And let's see, for tomorrow, rain and some heavy rain, and day 3 some more rain. So let's see. Precipitation for today, mainly parts of the southeast there in Carolina, Florida, Missouri, and other parts of other plains, Colorado, parts of the west in Utah, Arizona, some in New Mexico, some in Montana, even Oregon, more in Mexico, more in Oklahoma, Kansas, especially through the night as the storms transition there. A shower or 2 in the northeast, Southern California. Let's see, maybe an isolated shower in another area. For tomorrow, more in Missouri and Nebraska, the Dakotas, parts of Colorado, Utah, and some areas there. Let's see, more in the southeast. For Wednesday, more in Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, and Minnesota, North Dakota, southern Canada, and other areas there a little bit more isolated. let's see, day 4, next Friday, let's see. So day 3 was Thursday, so this is next Friday, shows more for the Ohio Valley, parts of Indiana, the Midwest, Wisconsin, Illinois, some in the south, and more across the Northwest. Day 5 for Saturday shows more across the east as this big front transitions there, more for West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Tennessee, more in Ohio, New York, Ontario, Indiana, more areas there. So next Sunday, the front will have moved further east, more in New York, in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, Washington, some areas there, some in the southeast, Canada, and some isolated on the west. Next Sunday, still on the east, a little more rain and some storms, and mainly it. Day 1 through 7 shows a lot in Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois. Be aware there. A lot in Mexico from the afternoon storms. Some in the west, more in Utah and Colorado. Some more in some areas of the plains and the southeast. So be aware. Excessive rainfall, as light in Oklahoma into Arkansas today, as light in Colorado to Kansas. Be aware, flash flooding possible, as light in North Carolina and South Carolina from those other storms today, plus the flooding that already happened, a marginal there, a marginal from California to Illinois. For Tuesday, as light in Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, and parts of Nebraska, a marginal from Montana to Arizona and east to Kentucky, a marginal in South Carolina and parts of Georgia and North Carolina. Later, by Wednesday, a slight in parts of Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, some areas there, and the marginal from Colorado to Minnesota, and the south is fine. Let's see, day 4, Thursday shows that marginal in the Midwest, and for Friday, the marginal continues as the front progresses. So let's see some other stuff. So still some major heat risk across the south, and some extremes in Georgia and Texas, so please be careful in those areas. Some moderate heat risk in the southwest, and minor heat risk in other areas. Tuesday, more heat risk across Florida, major, some extremes in southern Georgia too. Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, still major heat risk and some extreme heat risk. Moderate in parts of the southwest and some areas of moderate in the north. Let's see, Wednesday, still some major heat risk across the south and extreme. Thursday, still some extreme heat risk across Mississippi, Louisiana, even Alabama, Florida, and Texas, and major heat risk. Next Friday, still major and extreme heat risk across the south. Next Saturday, similar thing, more in Texas, Louisiana, and some areas. Please be careful. Minor heat risk in some other areas there. Next Sunday, more extreme heat risk in Texas and Louisiana, Mississippi. So be careful there. So let's see here. So the temperatures are in the hundreds still in Texas, parts of New Mexico, so 90s on the southeast, 100s on the southwest, so 90s in the west, and this is the temperature, but the heat indices, the feels like, will be definitely higher than that, especially across the southwest and the south there. So, and then for tomorrow, for Tuesday, still some 100s, 90s across the south. Let's see, so even 90 in Montana, so 100 on the southwest. Let's see, by next Wednesday, still some 100 on the south, some 90s on the southeast, some 100s on the southwest. Let's see, some higher 80s further north. Let's see, for next Thursday, more 90s and 100s on the south, more 100s on the southwest, some 70s and 80s in the north. Let's see, for day 5, next Friday, shows more 100s in the south in Texas, be careful, Louisiana too, Arkansas, Mississippi, more 90s on the southeast, 100s on the southwest, so be careful. Let's see, day 6, next Saturday, more 100s on the south, and especially in Texas, more 100s on the southwest, in Louisiana and Mississippi as well, and more 90s there. So be careful with the heat. In day 7, more 100s there on the south and southwest, so be careful. And day 1, max wind gusts for Monday today shows windy across Nevada, parts of Southern California, the mountains, parts of the plains, and some areas there in Texas. Yeah, so in talking about that wind there in Nevada, let's see, there's a critical fire threat there today in Nevada and parts of northeastern California, so please be careful. That's critical there. Try to be careful not to cause any fires and stay away from some active fires. And elevated from California to Idaho, and isolated dry thunderstorms possible in Oregon, Washington, western Montana, northern California, and Idaho. So be aware, those dry thunderstorms can cause more fires and have some strong winds, so be careful. And for tomorrow, they still don't have any areas. So let's see some outlooks. So because we have some colder air potentially coming from the north after this cold front, going to affect some areas of the north central US. So let's see, this day 6 through 10 temperature probability, so above average in the south, very above average, and below average parts of the west and the northeast. But if you go to day 4 through 14, it's still a similar thing, as very above average in Texas, some areas of the south, and more above average through the plains there, parts of the north, but we still have that below average there. But even further out than that, if we go on the model, it shows we have that area of below average. So this is in the atmosphere, like 850 HPA in the atmosphere, but it can kind of show, it kind of shows if the temperatures are above average or below average. So let's see, it keeps that above average in the south this week into next week, and especially in Texas, Oklahoma, some really above average. But then we start getting that below average in Canada, then it goes down to the US about August 20th. So shows a big area of below average air into Canada and in the central northern US too. So at night it might feel like fall in some of those areas if this happens, but it's still uncertain. But meanwhile in the west the heat is still building, so the cold blast kind of the central and the east, and the heat in the west, so it continues further into Canada, the northeast, the colder air, and the heat keeps building in the west, and some more below average temperatures in northern Canada. And then if we go to about August 26, take a look at those temperatures, very, very, very above average. So by the end of August, we might be looking at more heat waves there too, and maybe some below average in the northwest. So let's see what else. So precipitation, day 6 through 10, a little bit below average in the south and some above average in the central and northwest and northeast, and some areas of below average. And the day 8 through 14, more areas of below average and some above average in the east and northwest. So this is mainly it. Let's see what else. So the hazards, this change all the time, but still some heat advisories in the south, flood watches in Colorado, red flag warnings and air quality advisories, and some small wind advisories in California, air quality, some flood warnings and watches still in parts of North Carolina, and flood warnings still in the rivers there where Debbie passed. So, and there's the river map still shows some critical conditions for some rivers there. Not there is a river or two. So yeah, let's see what else. So now for Canada, let's see what's happening there. So we have those stronger storms through, through British Columbia and parts of Alberta. So there's some moderate thunderstorms possible today in southern Alberta, and some minor storms in other parts of Alberta and southwestern Saskatchewan. And tonight, a smaller area, some minor thunderstorms, and tomorrow still shows some moderate thunderstorms in the afternoon in Alberta. So be aware. Today's Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday. So in the Northwestern Territories, nothing, and tomorrow nothing too. So in British Columbia, let's see some minor thunderstorms possible there in Yukon. In southern British Columbia, they downgraded it to moderate thunderstorms possible in parts of southern British Columbia and some minor storms. So be aware there this afternoon. And for tomorrow, some severe storms possible in that orange there. So an elevated risk of storms. So weather threat, yes. So they put a high threat for tomorrow. So be aware there. And some moderate storms possible in southeastern British Columbia too. So let's see here. Is this so this forecast was made Sunday yesterday. So I think this is for today, because this was, yes, so this for today, because it says it was emitted yesterday. But if you go to day 2, they say valid for Monday. So they put some stronger storms possible there today. So just be aware there. These outlooks are kind of messy, but be aware. Let's see for Ontario, some minor storms possible in Western Ontario and Southern Ontario too. For tonight, just Southern Ontario, a storm or two. Tomorrow, more storms throughout Ontario possible. And the day 3, still some more storms. And there in Quebec, shows some storms in southern Quebec possible, and northern Quebec into Labrador. And Atlantic Canada, this for Monday, yes, so shows some minor storms possible through Nova Scotia, the New Brunswick, the ocean, parts of Newfoundland and Labrador, more storms. So for tomorrow, more storms in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick and Newfoundland, and later still nothing. So be aware there, and we'll show you some more storm information in a minute. So let's see, we still have a lot of heat warnings there, unseasonably warm temperatures. Let's see some air quality advisories for the smoke and heat warnings there. So be aware, more air quality advisories and heat warnings, some air quality statements there in those areas of Nunavut. So around those cities there, some high temperatures and air quality advisories for the smoke. So be aware. In Ontario, more heat warnings for some heat building near 29 degrees, some special air quality statements for the smoke, and more special air quality statements in British Columbia for the smoke of the wildfires, and still some heat warnings there. So be aware. Some heat warnings, special air quality statement for the Northwestern Territories in some areas. So be aware. This is mainly it. Let's see this other map. So it shows today for Eastern Canada, some storms possible through Quebec, through Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, parts of Newfoundland. So some areas there. But for tomorrow, so today's Monday, but for Tuesday, tomorrow shows some severe storms possible in southern Newfoundland, northern Nova Scotia for Tuesday, tomorrow. More general risk of storms through Quebec, New Brunswick and other areas for tomorrow, so be aware. And still some high temperatures in Western Canada, some 30s, some high 20s there. Today, so this afternoon, Monday, be aware. And the thunderstorms, this for Monday today, some severe storms possible in parts of southern Alberta, southwestern Saskatchewan, and southern British Columbia, southeastern British Columbia. So be aware. This is for today. So some large hail possible, strong winds and dry lightning. So dry lightning is like those dry thunderstorms that they have the risk in the U.S. there. So some of the storms in British Columbia could have some dry lightning, like little precipitation and a lot of wind and lightning. So be careful. Those could cause fires as well. And for tomorrow, for Tuesday, they still have severe storms possible through Saskatchewan, parts of Regina. So be aware that for Tuesday in Saskatchewan, maybe some severe storm or two. And generally, thunderstorms for parts of British Columbia and Alberta, parts of Saskatchewan and Ontario. And still some heavy rain, large hail, strong gusts, and maybe a dry lightning or two possible there. So be aware. Let's see just two last things here. So where's North America? Here. So in Western Canada, it shows this one better. It shows some rain there today, parts of British Columbia and Alberta. Shows some storms in British Columbia this afternoon and Alberta there. And then Tuesday, tomorrow, shows more rain there, parts of British Columbia, some other areas, Alberta, and more storms through Alberta and Saskatchewan, some stronger ones there. Then by Wednesday, some more rainstorms throughout Western Canada. Then it quiets down, but still some storms during like Thursday, Friday, still some storms there. Especially by next Friday, some more rain into Alberta, British Columbia, and parts of Saskatchewan. So this is mainly it. For Central Canada, it shows nothing really crazy, just the storms in Manitoba, maybe Saskatchewan, some areas there. So especially tomorrow, Tuesday, more storms in Manitoba there, southern Manitoba, so be aware. And by Wednesday, central Manitoba, western Ontario shows more storms. To Thursday, some more storms through there too, Manitoba, Ontario, as this moves there. So by Sunday, Monday, some more rain there into Eastern Canada. So for Eastern Canada, today shows that cold front in Labrador and Quebec, bringing those storms. Northern Newfoundland too, and tomorrow shows those severe storms possible in Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, parts of Quebec and New Brunswick. So be aware there. Wednesday, storm or two on Wednesday, but Thursday, that front comes from Western Canada and the U.S. More heavy rain, some storms in Ontario. Saturday, some more stuff in Quebec, and then this big front there by Monday keeps moving. Potential Hurricane Ernesto there, trying to approach the tip of Newfoundland, and some more rain from Ontario and Quebec. So this is mainly it. Be aware, just one last thing here. So the rain accumulation the next 5 days shows more rain for Nunavut possible in the Western Territories, more in parts of Alberta, Saskatchewan, some areas there, British Columbia, Yukon, some more rain in Alaska as well, more in Manitoba and some other areas, and next 10 days more rain from Ontario, Quebec, and some other areas there. So be aware. And the temperatures in Eastern Canada, I showed you Western Canada, so some 30s and high 20s in Ontario, some 20s and 19. Let's see parts of Quebec and southern Ontario, some 20s, some 19, 15, 17 in Labrador, not areas, but Nova Scotia, New Brunswick into the 20s, even Newfoundland. So this is it, I think. Stay safe.